Welcome to a late night stream of I'm not working tomorrow. I almost played the game where I wouldn't start until I got some more likes because there's 5 of you waiting and there's 3 likes so far. But it's too late. So we got more stories coming out of the Middle East. And out of, well, let me back up a little bit. I just got off a panel with Triggerman, shout out to Triggerman, about Tupac. And I'm absolutely of the opinion that the entire thing is contrived. Everything about Tupac is contrived. Him as a gangster character. I know this pisses a lot of people off because Tupac is a saint, basically. But the shooting's fake. Just everything about it is fake. I think almost all entertainment, but gangster rap in particular, as far as music goes, gangster rap is more of a soap opera than reality. And if anybody's seen the Crazy Bone did a podcast where he talks about how the music industry and the prison industry got together, and basically the music industry was strong-armed into making only gangster rap after a certain point, so that to try to influence kids to feed the prison system, the private prison system, that had shareholders. Same people were shareholders in both the record labels and the prison industries, basically. Makes a ton of sense to me. There's videos out there, a video in particular I'm thinking of. Maybe we'll watch it in a little bit. If oh yeah, I was gonna put the link up. But anyways, there's a video out there. It's an interview with Tupac when he was 17. He died at 25, right? He died at 25. He had been making music for 5 years. So like 2 years before his death, he did this interview, and you can search it right here on YouTube. I would search Tupac high school interview and it'll come up, but he's definitely not a gangster. What he is he's an acting student, and he's, it's open to interpretation, but his presentment was effeminate in that. So you've got an acting student who turns into there's just so many things revolving around it. I think the whole thing was faked. I think most of these gangster rappers are actors, and that's basically why they keep dying or going to prison, is because if you're an actor in a show, but your audience doesn't know you're an actor, you have to exit the stage somehow, or else you have to live your whole life in that role. There's so much going on with the Tupac murder. Even the fucking fight that night, even the Mike Tyson knockout. You know what? We'll watch that. Even the Mike Tyson fight was fake. Watch this. Now, I know this isn't the greatest footage, but watch, or the greatest film quality, but we're going to roll with it. Let me know if the audio's not. I guess the audio doesn't matter. It's a fight. But watch for the knockout. I believe it was one of the fastest fights or one of the fastest knockouts Mike Tyson ever got. Maybe the fastest. Here it is. We'll just jump to the knockout.
til rett venstre Bruce Seldon. Ut med venstre, sting i venstre, skal han stoppe han, men så legger han seg ned. Vet du hva han truffet? Jeg så ikke helt Ingmar. Hva han ble truffet av? Er han ute alt? Er han nede alt? Han er nede, men er han ute alt? 6, 7, 8. Det har skjedd det samme med Bruce Seldon som har skjedd med alle andre. De har blitt livredde når de har møtt Mike Tyson i ringen. Venstre uken treffer, og Bruce Seldon legger seg ned, og Bruce Seldon er ferdig.
Let's watch that again, slowed down. I'm going to actually kill the audio. I don't know what the copyright shit is on this. Do you see that? This is not the see, they got it from I want a different video angle. Hold on, I'm gonna find the one from the top down, because you can really see at that angle that Tyson barely connected. Oh, and so on the also on this during the fight, right? This is the night Tupac got shot. This is the fight Tupac was at before he drove away and got shot leaving this fight. Mike Tyson was 44-1. Bruce Seldon is who he knocked out. Bruce Sheldon's record was 33-3. I don't know if this is what I wanted. I thought I had it pulled up already, but we're gonna try this one. And I'll drop the link in a second. I'll drop the link in a second.
Here with a very, very bad taste in their mouth. Let's take a look at what actually happened in the fight. Of course, Bruce Seldon came in with the WBA heavyweight.
Miss. Okay, that wasn't the final knockout. That was maybe first round.
Praise be to Allah that I was successful in accomplishing them. I'm not an emotional person. Issue. I'm just praise be to Allah that I was successful in accomplishing them.
You've heard the reaction of the fans in the arena here tonight. A lot of people thought that the first knockdown was at best a glancing blow off his head. You were the closest man to it. What happened?
Well, I'm a good puncher. You know, you should have those people come and take the punch that he got hit with, and then they could decipher was it hard or not.
And the left that put him down the second time, how strong was that?
That was a good punch. I do it hard, bad intention. You know, you're watching a fight. You're a reporter. Every punch is throwing bad intention.
You know, unfortunately, I feel as though I'm redoing the McNeely post-fight here. Did you hit him hard enough to knock him down? The fans afterwards are yelling, fix, Mike. How do you feel standing in the ring here now?
Well, listen, what kind of thing? Do you think Mike Tyson's going to fix a fight? Do you think Joe Louis fixed a fight? They went through all the fight, all the heavyweight champions in their era. They did the same thing with Ali and Listen to Me. What can I do? I'm just here to render my service.
I guess the question is, how do the fans react? Because they're the ones that are paying, and there weren't even that many fans here tonight. What does that say about the status of heavyweight division?
I don't know about all that. It looks sold out to me. I don't particularly put great interest in the crowd while I'm fighting, but it looks pretty crowded to me.
What about the WBC belt? What happens now? If you don't fight Lennox Lewis, they're either going to take it away or something's going to happen.
I take all challenges, line them up.
Well, for his part, Bruce Seldon was
a great fighter. You know, he's fast. He's very fast, and he punches extremely hard. And I'm not ashamed to say that he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. He punches extremely hard, and he's very fast. And I thought I was on my proper defense. I truly did, but he caught me with a left hook. And
there we go.
He caught me right on the point of my chin, and everybody knows that's the nerve. And that just rattled me, shook me up.
What happened after you got up after the second knockdown? It looked like you were okay, and then
I was on my proper defense. I truly did, but he caught me with a left hook, and he caught me right on the point of my chin, and everybody knows that's the nerve. And that just
This is the post-fight interview right after it happened, and both of them seem quite defensive about. They're both making excuses, and yeah, this is clearly not a real knockout. Look, watch this. Glanced his forehead, and he's still swinging, and then he see that when he starts to fall. Watch when he starts to fall. Hit, and then he starts to fall down before he hits the ropes. It's not like he bounced off the ropes. It's not like, yeah, I don't buy it. I mean, of course, it's possible to get knocked out and have sort of a delayed response, but I don't. There's just nothing about me that buys that. Welcome.
What are you sighing like that for? I'm trying to give you a good boxing segment, tell you in this retarded chat how you're wrong, leave you room to not be totally stupid like I do with the flat earthers. And really, you were just my pick out of the 3 pathetic streamers that are live right now in my rotation.
Other pathetic streamers are you?
Oh, EBT is doing his post TBE, which is really like doing the TBE. It's just backwards. It's all shit buckets. And then that fucking pathetic ass Bex. Like, how much is Cynthia her bestie whenever she's over here and not at Bex? Oh, I know how. She's being a fake bitch with 2 windows open, just chatting up both, I'd assume.
Who's being fake, Cynthia or Bex?
Well, I'll give Bex she's retarded, but she's not being fake when she's retarded. And yeah, Cynthia's definitely fake. If not for the discernment for me to just see it outright, like in that HR fashion. But on to the concussions here. I keep feeling more and more like I was in karate and a lot of rough housing as a young man in a backwoods type country. I didn't even box Golden Gloves, but this community validates me so much between how much I tell Paul I know he doesn't fight and doesn't need to be talking all this shit like he handle people. And I know you're not no punk. You're not no punk flow state, but there's a thing people don't understand about getting knocked out and just even non-fight concussions. Because I never got knocked out in a boxing match, but I came really close. And I mean there was a blue flash. I couldn't hear the audience, and I was in warm bread, but I never fell down and snapped back to it and managed to win that fucking fight. And people wonder why I show that picture so much. It's not just that my friend got a great shot in a millisecond, but that was the fight. I don't know how I didn't get knocked out or how I finished that fight. But that dude did get clocked. Whenever I saw it in the overhead that you just played last, you only have to catch that jaw. Like everybody's got the button. It's just how easy is it to hit an
Right.
individual
I
button.
agree.
But
I
here's
agree.
the thing:
Everybody's got the button, but I
so
don't his
it's
button
not,
didn't get hit.
but it's not a gay or straight situation. It's like, how gay are you as far as like, did he ring your bell? Because you don't just snap back out of it and now you're 100%. You have to knock out all over again. It's once you get that, you're concussed. And if I would have taken another hit or even not as good a hit again, I would have went out. So I
Right.
thought you guys thought it was fake by the way he bounced off the ropes and then Mike kind of missed and
Well,
fell. The ropes kept him from finishing out that fall, really.
so I've never been knocked out either, but we've both seen people knocked out. I've knocked people out. I assume you have too. We
Hey,
would
Bearsworth, are you on it? Are you on a channel right now that's live? Take that, go to another channel chat and kick rocks. I hate anybody that does this shit.
um
Hey, Flow State, you've been on for almost 20 minutes. They should go over to the Chad Sports Tavern. He's streaming too, like you are, right? They should
I
go
I
over
thought
there.
it was referring to me because I am a Chad and I'm talking about sports. But look,
Oh, was he? I'm sorry. Hey, Bearsworth, you still get drunk and talk
no,
about your fucking
no,
marriage.
I think that you're right. Actually, I think it's probably a different thing. But I'm actually not really a sports fan. I don't like watching sports. I think, and I especially since I've decided that they're basically all fixed. But when some
Well,
so
there is cause for that. I'm down with that. I've seen basketball like I don't like sports ball, but I've seen clips of basketball refs where a player makes a shot and he does a god damn it motion and gets pissed. I'm like, why is the ref pissed about this guy scoring right now in the game he's refereeing?
right.
And then if you really want to get mud flood on it, I've seen people do videos about like balls installed to electromagnetically be attracted or repelled from the hoop.
A
And
lot
and
of uprights. If you really think about the odds of hitting the upright and then the odds of banking the ball to hit the upright to go in. I mean, I've seen those videos too, and I think that there's a lot of merit to it. And of course, why wouldn't they
well,
use
did you see the video where the ball stopped on the rim and they stood there and stared at it for a second? And I don't mean
Yes.
how it gets wedged sometimes. Even middle school kids get it wedged sometimes. No, it was like balanced on top of the ring, sitting there
Yeah.
of the hoop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and it didn't bounce. It was what it was like a not a 3-point, but it was a shot from a distance, and it just stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
And listen,
No.
I went to college for this type of shit. And as sure as you can make two magnet sides repel and attract, like electricity creates electromagnetic forces. And it's not that you're saying we're going to make it foolproof, but any little edge to the billion-dollar gambling industry is what they're going for here. Like a football heading for the goalpost, you can make or break it whenever it goes too far or not far enough. You can decide if they truly have that shit wired.
I mean, it would be naive to think that they're not cheating.
Only because of the gambling industry, just the legal gambling industry is multi-billion dollar, not even including the illegal gambling industry. And we all say follow the money.
Always follow the money. Oh, I mean,
But
that's
somebody asked me on a stream earlier if I thought that Mike Tyson threw I forget, I think he said the Buster Douglas fight. And in that era, the same with this fight you're watching, he did admit later on in life that back in his prime he was doing crack and steroids while he was boxing. And that was like under his Don King shit, because Don King was fucking him over too. So when you
So
got hit by that N-word pit bull, like the first thing before you watched a couple replays, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he just got clocked good enough. He was like, I'm not going to take the second hit and just fall over and not have brain damage, you know? But then whenever you played a couple replays, I was like, no, he just was in the process of knocking out. Because when it happened to me, there
hold
was
on,
minute
let's
break.
watch it. Let's watch it again. I want to watch it again because Mike Tyson's fist, it glanced right. Like the momentum of his fist doesn't slow down. You can hit somebody with a weak shot on the button and they'll go down. I agree with that, but your fist still does stop its momentum. His barely did. Also, the dude who got knocked out, he finishes his punch right, but then he starts to fall downwards before he hits the ropes. So at what point did he become knocked out? Because he was going
And
down.
that's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. When I got almost knocked out, blue flash, warm and fuzzy, all that, whenever I was trying to keep my knees the rest of that round, and I did make it. Like the bell finally saved me when it came, and I spent the whole minute break because it was a new event. Like I'd never come that close to being knocked out before, and I spent that whole break in the corner standing up, like telling the corner guy to just fuck off because I couldn't get my knees back, and I didn't know if I'd get them back. And I was like, I can barely walk back out to the ring, much less not get knocked out if he hits me again. And this was a 6-something guy wearing work boots. My whole thing against him was being able to move and get him from different sides. So yeah, man, it like if he started to go down and that was him losing, he was getting noodle leg.
Right. But he didn't get noodle arms.
No, you don't get noodle arms. I don't know what it is. Don't ask me for the biology, but my arms were fine. It's your knees that you lose because your body just wants to get the brain back and it wants to just stop operating. But if you can find it, go ahead and we'll watch this. If you can find one I remember from the UFC, it's a good example too. If you remember,
I can, but I mean, it's because your legs are always carrying weight. You don't get noodle arms because generally, if you get punched and knocked out, your arms are not. You're not holding something, right?
Right. You're the one that was asking me why not arms. I said because you don't lose your arm. So thanks for agreeing, dipshit.
No, I mean, I think you do lose your arm.
No, you don't.
It's just you don't notice it because you're not standing on your arms.
No, I was still hitting the dude. I mean, I did get my knees back. I just focused, kept breathing. But I was scared the whole minute that it wasn't coming. I was standing there like kind of marching in place, trying to kind of like when your foot's asleep or something. Just trying to do anything because they didn't give me my friend for the ring man. They made us use the provided ring people. And he was there with a friend from wartime, so he wasn't too worried about it. And so I didn't have any help. I didn't have anybody to tell me how to get through it. But yeah, man, you lose your knees,
But I mean,
not your arm.
I guess also the point is you did get through it though. You weren't knocked out actually. But I mean, and I know that this is all anecdotal, but I guess also the first time I knocked somebody out, it was a button shot, right? I was actually trying to not hit him that hard and just kind of give him a warning shot.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It's placement.
But he got noodle
strength
neck.
has a lot to do with it if you just want to hit people and knock them out without even the button. Because what you're doing is making your brain collide with the wall of your skull and it shorts out. There is the jaw button, but knockouts that happen from just getting hit in the head when you don't realize construction stuff is coming or something, all it is making your squishy gray matter bounce off of your skull. And since your skull is firing electric continuity, it shorts out and turns off. It turns off and restarts.
But what I was saying is the guy who I knocked out, he got noodle everything. He got noodle neck because he stayed standing for a second. He was just balanced perfectly, but his head sort of rolled before his body went down. I don't know. It was.
So when it happened to me,
I started getting paper towels out of the bathroom before he hit the dirt.
I already like you so much. Just keep talking. When it happened to me, everybody had asked on Facebook and shit, were you like showboating at one point? You did like a Marilyn Manson kind of stance, like you did on Beautiful People. I was like, no, I almost fucking fell out because I was getting my bell rung.
Okay.
So I did like I gotta find it on the DVD because I never looked for it. But yeah, they said I kind of like did some weird arms outstretched kind of pose, and I was like, yeah, that was me probably trying to regain consciousness. But they thought I was fucking showboating. But now since that guy lost, I can't say that guy's not prone to throwing a fight. But I wouldn't say Tyson threw a fight because he's not the one going down. And back then, when he was going cracking steroids, you think you're gonna tell that motherfucker to throw a fight? Fuck no, man! I'm king of the world.
If you're on cracking steroids, you have to throw the fight.
Fuck are you talking about?
You think they didn't know that you're on cracking steroids? You think they can't test that shit or figure it out?
He had somebody pissing for him. That was the 80s, probably 90s right there.
Okay, but hypothetically, okay, that's fine. We can't prove it either way. We're just speculating. But if they did know,
dude, we already catch UFC champions taking shit, and we have better shit today. Okay, back then, the steroids I've done and the steroids Tyson did, you still had to lift weights and train.
Right.
Ronda Rousey was doing a type of steroid you could sit Paul and slave style and get stronger.
So hold on. Why do you think that Mike Tyson wouldn't throw a fight?
Because when you were Mike Tyson, when you are the face of Mike Tyson's Punch Out, you're more of that Bruce, the dude from Pulp Fiction. I'd say it's that times 10. Like, you have a legacy. You're not going down over some gambling bullshit.
I think absolutely. There's all sorts of people that would. Yes, absolutely. Tons of people would do it for the money.
If he would bite a man's ear off to win, what makes you think he would throw a fight? See, this is why you think you're a better Christian than me. You're a fucking moron.
I think I'm not a Christian. You're a fucking moron. How many times do I have to tell you that?
That's why you're a fucking moron, that you don't believe in Christianity and you think you're a better Christian than me.
I actually do think I'm a better Christian than you as well.
I know you're a fucking idiot.
Tommy, we're having such a good conversation. Now you're going to...
No, we weren't. I only graced you with a possible fucking whatever happens for me showing up. I hate this community. I wouldn't be anyplace else.
Well, stay. It's true.
What's going on? I'm glad you're here. I was just getting ready to kick Tommy.
Oh, I bet you were.
Say, man, y'all crazy, man. Y'all said Mike Tyson was on steroids.
Yeah, he admitted.
I'm sure that he was.
You sound as stupid as the host. I bet you're one of Cynthia's friends, aren't you?
Say exactly right, goddamn me. Say, man, anywho, man. Say, man, a lot of these people just showing up for paychecks, man, to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was hitting these boys so hard and this and that, man. I had never heard any steroid accusations.
Hey, I'm sorry, Cynthia's friend. If this motherfucker backstage is...
Outflow, you didn't have to kick him off. I was paying him no mind. He's stupid.
No, it was going. It happens every time he comes up here. He can't maintain.
Yeah, I don't pay him no mind. You know, I ain't gonna disrespect your show.
No,
Man, bro, a lot of motherfuckers was just showing up to get that paycheck, man. Tyson was knocking them boys out, man. A lot of people were hurt, man. Tyson was hurting people. I never heard no allegations of him being on steroids, and never heard Mike Tyson say that he took any steroids or any PED performances. I
haven't either.
I had never heard Mike Tyson say that. And doing his training videos, if you watch Mike Tyson early in his career, man, Gus, man, was training the shit out of him. He was a fighting machine, man. Like, man, me as a fighting amateur since growing up in Golden Gloves and stuff, man, I just can't sit here and listen to nobody say that Mike Tyson was on steroids, because that has never been said about that man.
Yeah, I haven't ever heard that either. Do you think Mike Tyson would not do steroids though?
Yes, I believe that he didn't have to do. He already had what we call special ed strength. I'm gonna use that word, man. He just had to give some people. It's like Deontay Wilder. He can't really box, but he got iron in his hand, in his fist, right? But Mike Tyson, a lot of times, Mike Tyson was hitting people. These people are actually, man, they got to check out the medical history. Mike Tyson was actually hurting these people, man. So a lot of people already knew he hit hard. They were scared to get hit. A lot of people, Tyson was barely hitting, and they would just stand down because they were just there for the money, man. They didn't want to get knocked out for real or get their jaw broke or anything. But for Tyson being on steroids, man, man, I'm sitting in your chat. I'm listening to it. It's buffoonery, man. Like it's
I
just
think it's,
buffoonery. If Tyson was on
I've never
steroids,
heard it either.
he would have never even went down, man. After Gus died, man, Cuss died, man. He would never even, and he changed the team. If steroids was the reason for him winning and shit, he would never start being a different fighter. It was the trainer, man, and the mentality. He was a trained machine, man.
I
You
mean, I
know,
know that's
no,
what we're taught to believe, and I just don't trust. I don't trust entertainment industry at all. That includes sports.
I hear you.
And I definitely think that they fix boxing. I definitely think they fix basketball. I think they fix all the professional
But
sports.
how can you fix boxing outside of like cheating for putting something in a water or something on your gloves or not using the
Yeah.
padding in your glove? How else?
You
These
take a
fighters,
dive. You take
you
They
a
a
both
dive.
fight.
get paid. It's two people. It's two people. They both get paid compared to the NFL or NBA where you got to pay out like
You
dozens of people.
okay,
It's
Flo
one
State.
versus one, so it's easier to fix.
Let me use where I'm trying to come from. Let me break it down these terms. We man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men are full of pride. One thing men don't like to do is be shamed, embarrassed, man, or take a
For
loss,
money.
man. Man, we ain't taking no losses for
A
money
lot of
unless we're on the
men will
win.
do shit for money,
I don't know
Well,
the
especially when they
man.
know they're gonna lose.
I
here,
don't know the
let
man,
me put
Flo.
it this way though. What if he was put in a spot between taking the shame of a loss and taking a bigger shame? Because remember, the boxer isn't in charge of his press presence. Somebody else is.
So do you think it's ever a time that Tyson would have took a fail or a foul for some money?
I think well, first of all, Tyson didn't take a fall here, but I do think
Okay.
Tyson would take a fall for
No.
money. And I certainly think that
I'm like
anybody,
the heavyweight champion of the world, the greatest of the world.
and I
Tyson
also
is the
think
greatest heavyweight to me in the world. I ain't gonna even lie.
I like Mike Tyson too. Mike Tyson and Michael Jordan are the two athletes, and I'm not a sports fan. I don't watch sports, but I can watch those two dudes montages of them on YouTube doing knockouts or hitting those shots forever. They're awesome. But yeah, but I definitely think that any man, right? If pride is your biggest thing, and pride's why you won't sell out and take a fall, what if you're given the choice between, hey, you either take a dive this next round, or we're going to give you some bad press about, I don't know, CP, right? Maybe you got caught with some CP. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can blackmail somebody and leverage their pride against them.
But
Or what they do these
Tyson didn't
days,
give a damn about that.
SA. Like, with a random chick that you hung up with that you innocently hooked up with and you didn't do anything bad to, just like a recent baseball player and many other famous professional players, where they use that blackmail and then it ends up being false.
Are you doing MGTOW shit?
No. I'm talking about sports. I'm not talking about MGTOW stuff.
Your analogy.
No. This is not the place to bring up that stuff. My name is that, but I don't bring that over here to your channel or anybody else's channel. I leave that stuff out.
But what are you saying though?
Well, for example, like the baseball player recently accused of SA was proven false, and she was just trying to milk them for millions of dollars.
I misunderstood your example.
And it's happened many times where, if you don't comply with the authorities, the people in charge, they will try to blackmail you.
Well, you have to wonder what happened to Mel Gibson, right? Like, what, he just freaked out and became anti-Semitic one night out of nowhere, and then
that was him all along.
Maybe it was maybe he pissed somebody off and it was fake press. I don't know. I wasn't.
No, come on, Flo.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that these are things I believe. I don't believe Mike Tyson, but we got to be open to possibilities. We have to know that if one thing is for sure, is that the news can be wrong, whether it's intentionally or disintentionally, and that's where we get all of our information from on these sort of things.
That's the problem. You never. Yeah, I agree. You never know though if it's.
I agree, man.
That's the part you don't know. there's times where you want it to not be true, and sometimes you want it to be true. It's confusing. That's the thing with media; they want it to be confusing.
But one thing that's not confusing is well, I mean, I guess it is, but it's human nature and incentives are a lot more clear cut, right? Like I don't know what the hell. And actually, the point of this video is not to be about boxing, even though it's an interesting topic. Is about the stuff that we're hearing coming out of the Middle East right now, right? Because you hear all these stories and stuff, but we aren't there. We don't have any idea, but we do know that our government and the press lie to us, either intentionally or unintentionally.
So, Flo, can I ask you a question real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think America should be going over there and helping Israel?
I think that no, but I also don't. I mean, I don't know, and I suspect that the entire thing is not what it's portrayed as. I think it's probably I don't know if false flag is something you should avoid saying, but I think it's probably that.
You mean you mean a false flag would be hundreds of lives getting killed for they will sacrifice hundreds of lives for a false. Look, I agree with you on no, we shouldn't go on. I feel like we got too much going on. We helping Ukraine, and then we dipping our nose in business. That's too many enemies to be creating because we dipping our nose in shit that don't have anything to do with America, man.
Agree.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that we should be the world police. I don't like that shit.
Well, I was about to give them that too. Not just the U.S., but NATO. We've all sent our backstock of arms to Ukraine and billions of dollars, mainly U.S. Financially wise, U.S. But equipment wise, all these NATO countries have been sending everything they have over there, and they still lost. And this is starting. And who knows about China? And well, I already know not to
Well,
say.
if
You
I
know what I
was
mean?
if I was a president
There's
and
multiple fronts.
I was gonna send my help would be sending my planes so they're dropping bombs in whatever location they is, and we just sacrifice the hostages that they already have anyway because they already getting tortured and shit, and the chances of them living is slim to none. I would not be giving up 1,000 soldiers for one motherfucker. That's like dumb army tactics. I don't think America should be. I feel sorry for what's going on for them people over there, but I don't feel like we should be dipping our nose in everything because soon, man, it's gonna come home the ropes.
Wait, did you say send planes over there
to Israel? We've at least sent money. I don't think we've sent planes so far, but
that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I was to help him.
The UK and Netherlands have already sent planes over there, fighter jets.
All right. So I think it's an excuse to embezzle shit. If you look at the casualty history between Israel and Palestine, it's stupid. It's insane how bad. It's like 3 Israelis for every 100 Palestinians are killed. So it just smells weird. Honestly, I think that it's about siphoning out value from the U.S. economy while the dollar is still worth something.
The war economy. The dollar is crashing, and they're
gas went down since the war started over there. So
no, it hasn't. It's $6 a gallon in
California. Gas $2.94, sir.
Shit, where are you guys?
$6.
I'm in Texas, in Dallas.
I just filled it this morning. It was like $5.95 a gallon.
Well, that's all taxes. That's because California is
I
like
know.
the worst place to be. But here in Kansas City, it's stayed about exactly the same for like the last 9 months, which is interesting because
what is y'all gas price?
It's like $3.70.
Shit.
Yeah, but but everything else has gotten more expensive. I ate Jack in the Box for lunch, and it was $16 fucking
for one person.
Yes,
sure. I love Jack in the Box too.
But but gas and also milk, but especially gas, is the one thing that people look at. They notice the price, right? And so if you're trying to hide inflation, what are you going to do? You're going to fix gas prices so people don't notice it.
Yeah, but gas prices also affect food prices because transportation. I work in the grocery industry with Safeway on the West Coast, regional. So I know how all that stuff will work. But yeah,
But
when
that all
gas
go
prices
back to
go up,
oil.
grocery prices go up because of transportation costs. Because
But
groceries have to get there
That's
some way
not the
somehow.
only reason. That's a
but but
reason.
but
Well, it's
where
one
is
of the
it?
reasons, one of the many reasons. But
But we need oil to create gas, right? And most of the oil is coming from the countries that are at war. So it's almost like we got to stick our nose in there sometimes.
You know what else is interesting that comes from there is opium. And when we left
Facts.
Afghanistan, the Taliban outlawed opium production, and that's when the F stuff hit the market in a meaningful way. Just interesting optics.
makes sense to me.
Hmm. So, I sort of think Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine all have interesting things going on with them, in that they are sort of outposts. It's like our island in the middle of enemy turf, basically, all of them. And it makes you wonder how much they are independent acting countries.
They try to
Uh,
act independent, but a lot of them are over some control. I mean, if they're a Western country that's under U.S. influence, then there's definitely control over what they decide. That's why
the
a lot
real
of countries are choosing BRICS over the West. They're choosing Russia, and China, Brazil, I mean,
Well, the real
India.
question is where the terrorists and these little groups and shit getting these mass weapons of destruction from these type of weapons where they can rain down hundreds of missiles on the country. Who are funding? Where they getting these missiles from and this type of artillery from? Like that's the route to where they need to be finding out, man. They need to follow it.
Where do you think they're getting them from?
You want to be honest?
Yeah,
I think some of that shit come from over here. Some of it come from there, from different places.
I agree. I think most of it comes from over here or Russia, but I think that, or China. I mean, there's basically three.
Russia and U.S. is what I think.
Yeah, but I mean, there are only a handful. Like, of the 192 countries on Earth or something, there's really only about 5 of us, maybe, that are actively engaged in war.
Yeah, superpowers.
So I don't know. I'm so disenchanted with all the information we're fed. I don't believe anything. Basically, I follow incentives. I follow money. What happened immediately after the Israel thing? What happened? We put together a big ass aid package to send them money. We froze. You know, we had previously bought hostages from where? Pakistan? Was that it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was practice.
for $6 billion. That deal is off now, right? We've got the hostages back, but they've frozen the $6 billion before it ever got dispersed. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you've got a population of people who are desperately outmuscled, supposedly murdering a bunch of people who are definitely the military superiority there. And then all this money starts changing hands immediately. I don't know.
Well,
It's
it don't seem like Israel. Like I don't know. I think they were saying like the other people were Goldsman was saying that Guns or whatever they name is for saying that they were gonna kill. They had so many hostages and this and that that they were gonna kill if they didn't let go. People who demanded them type of demands and shit. They're not big very strong. So I'm pretty sure that Israel gonna get it together, especially with the help going on. But what I'm worried about is another situation happening on United States soil, as far as like us sticking our nose in their business, somebody come over here and doing an attack over here. I don't never think it's gonna be a time to where they able to sneak over here and shoot missiles over here. We got technology to shoot that down. Anything that happened over here was allowed. That's how I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I mean, The biggest terrorist or the biggest attack on U.S. soil ever was what? A bunch of guys with box cutters
Yeah.
on planes.
So
Right.
you mean to tell me a bunch of Americans were scared of motherfuckers with box cutters and one of them planes had a basketball team on it that they didn't get to crash. They never talk about that story because the basketball players and shit all jumped on it. Ain't nobody letting nobody jump on with box the jet no plane in the air with box cutters. Somebody gonna take that razor blade cut. I'm gonna take it.
Well, and they've always haven't pilots always locked the cockpit during flight?
Yes, most of the time, yeah, it's locked. You can't even get
Right.
in.
That's what I remember. But you know,
Because
that's
if I'm the pilot, everybody dead until we land.
But did you look at the thumbnail? You remember you know what that's from, right? You remember seeing those videos, guys?
I ain't see no thumbnail.
Oh,
I just clicked on.
right on.
Oh no, I remember that. That was from when the Afghanistanians, or whatever you call them, the Afghans, tried
Right.
to hop on the plane when they were flying out of Afghanistan. And they left the billions of dollars of weapons there.
And
Yeah.
all the people were chasing the plane and trying to get on. Yeah, yeah.
And sitting on it and shit. Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
that before.
sitting in the wheels that fold up, like they were hanging on to everything they could. Oh, I remember that. That was like good. That was
a
like
couple months ago.
the first half a
A
year
year
of
ago.
Biden's administration, like when he first got elected in office, and like that happened. Boom. Within like
But
the
were
first
we
6
pulling
months.
our troops from over there or something? The reason why
Yeah.
they trying to okay.
Yeah. They abandoned it and left the billions of dollars of weapons, and then everybody was saying that they had Apaches now on our helicopters. We left like I don't even know how many billions, like 50 billion, $100 billion worth of weapons and equipment, helicopters, tanks, etc.
But
Who
that was
knows what we left
purposely.
over there?
That was for these terrorist groups and shit. That was just a scheme to see, like, yeah, you know, they were purposely, man.
Guess
That
what
was
they're
all
using
done.
now?
Yeah.
Probably the same shit.
Yeah, I believe it. I agree with you.
And Biden did that. So thank
I
everybody
don't know
who
if
voted for
Biden did
Biden.
it, but I agree with the theory though. I can we
Well, it's not a theory. I mean, what do you
because
you
I
think
say
all that shit
I
is
don't
gonna
believe.
sit
Listen,
unused?
I don't
Like
believe
nobody's gonna use
Biden.
it?
Look, I don't believe Biden done that because no president really actually runs the country outside Trump. Trump the first president really in decades that don't actually deal what the fuck he want to do. Everybody got a boss, but
I'm
and
not
so
saying Trump's a good guy either. I'm just saying that Biden commanded all that shit to be left. And do you think it's just
how
going to
you
sit
didn't
in the
know he
warehouse
didn't
and
get
not be used?
orders? How you didn't know he didn't get orders to tell
From
them?
Obama
No, from a
or
high.
Hillary
No, it ain't gotta be no
or the
president.
Vatican?
It be the Congress, the Constitution. Anybody who's sitting in the Senate could have told him that he got bosses. The president got a boss.
Whoever it was, they wanted that shit to be left there to cause further chaos so that war is profit, war is money. I mean, if they leave
I
all that
don't
shit
disagree
there
with you on
and
that
they
though.
play a victim, like, oh,
I
we
don't
had to leave
disagree.
all that shit there. They have all that shit to use. They're not going to just put in a warehouse and put it away forever and never ever use it. What do you
I
think?
don't disagree.
What do you think those countries are going to do with all that equipment? 60, 100 billion, whatever the hell it was. What do you think they're just not going to use it?
Are you drinking?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not even.
Okay.
But it's common sense. If you're left
He
with
could.
billions of dollars
Hey,
of weapons
hey, but Flo, stay. I just stopped it through here for a
full of
second. I'm in
hate,
the bed, man. I just had to tap in with you, man.
Right
it's
on.
common sense to me.
Salute.
I appreciate you stopping by. It was a good show earlier, and I'm glad you took it longer, even though you didn't take it quite long enough. But
Yeah.
that conversation would never end if anybody had it their way, you know.
Yeah, I already know how it go, man. Appreciate you, man.
Where'd he go? Did he just dip out because I asked him if he's drunk? All right. Well, thanks for coming by. But did you see the video? Oh, he's gone. Oops, I'm adding that back up. So this is a jet sucking up luggage. Where'd that tab go? And so this is the point of watching. There's no way that the thumbnail video is absolutely fake. Because you can't just run right in front of a jet engine. If it can suck up these big like toolboxes full of luggage, They look like job boxes. I don't know if they are job boxes or not, but if they can suck up all that luggage into a jet engine, it's going to suck up a person. You're definitely not just going to be running around, having fun, riding on the wings. It's bullshit. So that is the gist of this entire live stream. Is given the optics going on right now, just keep it in mind, because there's a lot of the thing that was most convincing to me that this is contrived. And of course, I don't know anything. I'm just forming opinions based off what I know about the past and about how reality works. Beheading babies. That was the nope. That was the big nope for me when the president confirms that they are beheading babies. What? I mean, like, why? Do they want the whole world to hate them? Do they want everybody on Earth to come after them? That makes no sense at all. That is the most illogical move, to behead a goddamn baby. It makes no sense. It's terrible tactics. And nobody wanting to win a fight would ever do that. Even if you could do that, right? Like, I don't know what percentage of people you think could do that. I think it's quite small. But even if you got past that and did find like a whole club full of people who could do that, it makes absolutely no sense at all. But what does make sense about that story is to say that your enemy did it so that you get more support, right? Anybody who's been in a fight or even just a disagreement, right? When you're kids with your brother or sister, and then you're telling your parent about it, or you're telling a teacher about it, or you're telling some authority figure about it. What do? You stretch the truth as far as you can so that the other person is pure evil and you are just a saint. It's exactly the same thing here. They're beheading babies. We're defending babies. I think the last time, I don't know if the last time I remember an active narrative of they're killing and torturing babies. Last time I remember hearing that narrative playing was Q. And I think that the whole world agrees that that was a psyop. It was. But anytime I hear that anybody's torturing babies, like a group, like this is a group effort to do terrible things to babies. Whenever I hear a whole group of people who is doing stuff to babies, and you're hearing it from the person or the entity that's about to go after them, you have to write it off. Just like it's a pure conflict of interest. If people could follow the money and recognize conflicts of interest, it would be so much harder to lie to people. Actually, it's worth. I'll pull up. We're gonna have a little lesson here on what a conflict of interest is. Simmer down, students. Conflicts of interest, types and examples. What is this? Get this out of here. What is a conflict of interest? A conflict of interest occurs when an entity or individual becomes unreliable because of a clash between personal interests, and professional duties. Such a conflict occurs when a company or person has a vested interest, such as money, status, knowledge, relationships, or reputation, which puts into question whether their actions, judgment, or decision-making can be unbiased. Some examples of a conflict of interest could be representing a family member in court, starting a business that competes with your full-time employer, advising a client to invest in a company owned by your spouse, hiring an unqualified relative or friend, or giving information about something that you have. The conflict of interest is the information, right? Can the information be unbiased when you're receiving it from somebody who is an active participant in the situation? No, you can't. When such a situation arises, the party with the conflict of interest is usually asked to remove themselves, and it is often legally required of them. And again, this is Investopedia. And conflict of interest is a business term, as you can tell by the description. But the concept applies and should be applied everywhere in life, really. Like with all of government, if you look at the incentives, has a conflict of interest based on their funding. Like think about how police departments work or law enforcement agencies. If a department uses all of its budget for a year, right? Because the way municipalities work is they budget at the beginning of the year what they expect. They budget at the beginning of the year, and then that year happens. And if a department doesn't use as much as it's budgeted, if it doesn't use all the money it's budgeted, then it's likely to get a cut in its budget. So every government department has a big incentive to buy or to spend all their money. And actually, really, you should spend a little bit more than you're budgeted. That way, when it's time for the next year's budget, you can go to the county commissioners, for instance. A sheriff will go to a county commissioners and say, for next year's budget, I request more money because last year we didn't have enough, so we'll need more to operate this year. And that's how budgets work for all governments. So that in and of itself is a conflict of interest. If you're trying to reduce the tax burden on people, why would you hire somebody and then set up their pay structure in such a way? Another one is policing in general, right? When I got hemmed up in 2017, it's not because I was particularly and of course, I know I'm a defend as the person who was found guilty. I have a conflict of interest in even telling you that I wasn't really doing that much, anything worth that much police attention, right? So that's a conflict of interest in me just telling you that. But I was in a small town with too many cops and not enough crime. But police are incentivized to have crime. Police aren't incentivized to stop or prevent crime. They need crime to keep their jobs. If you have too safe of a community, the police are out of a job. So what do they start doing? They start drumming up crime, either explicitly or by exaggerating and saying, well, he was like, I made the front page of the newspaper locally. It's insane. It definitely wasn't that big of a deal, but you'd think when I got out of jail, I had people asking me all sorts of crazy things. I heard that I had a gun. I did have a full gun safe that got cut open, but I had people asking if there was $1 million in there in cash, if it was packed literally full of money. No, it's all exaggeration. Hello. Hi. I'm streaming and it's just me, and you just disrupted my train of thought, but it's okay. I will read the chat. I've been ignoring the chat anyways. Some did a minute ago, but or they start finding and harassing people more. Yes, they do. But you can even look at federal funding for local law enforcement. If you go to the Justice Department's website and look at the grants that they're offering, none of them are for safest community or biggest reduction in crime or most prevented crimes. It's all basically following drugs and guns. And they're all really called, I mean, they've all got get X off the street, right? Off the street is the key phrase. They want, it's not crime, it's that they're after. They're not after criminals committing crime. They're after people who have stuff, right? If you get caught with something you're not supposed to have, that's an open and closed case. It's real simple. You don't have to prove that they did something, yada yada. You don't have to do much investigation. It's just like, oh, here you are. There that is. You're guilty. They want to get guns and drugs off the streets and into the courtrooms. But they're not interested in actual crime with actual victims. It's just, did you have the thing you're not supposed to have? It's either that way. So, that's a conflict of interest, right? Back to conflicts of interest. But once you start paying attention to conflicts of interest, you notice them everywhere. Key takeaways: a conflict of interest occurs when a person's or entity's vested interest raise a question of whether their actions, judgment, and or decision making can be unbiased. In business, a conflict of interest arises when a person chooses personal gain over duties to their employer or to an organization in which they're a stakeholder, or exploits their position for personal gain in some way. So that's false. The person doesn't have to this is bullshit. I can't believe they have this here. A person doesn't have to actually choose personal gain. The conflict just has to arise, right? No choice is necessary. The police have a conflict of interest in their desire to reduce crime. That conflict of interest exists no matter what the choice is or if there is no choice at all. Conflicts of interest often have legal ramifications. Take a look at a couple comments. I have been ignoring the chat. If I've ignored your comment or not seen it, which is probably every comment, now's a great time to retype it or copy and paste it again if it's something that you want me to get to. We know who did. It was who's that dude? Ran for it was John McCain. I've noticed that you're sassy tonight. You were sassy last night, or maybe a couple. You've been on a sassy streak. I've noticed that. I don't know where Tommy is. Every time Tommy comes on panel, he ends up leaving angry and staying angry for a while. He just always angry. I don't know. I think it's the semen retention. I'm way back too far. About the babies, yeah. All propaganda, I think. Nothing is new. Yep. Yep. That's true. I think, yeah, if you start really digging into what started wars, you'll find either an overt false flag or some very suspicious circumstances around all of them. Like the Gulf of Tonkin that got us into Vietnam. We attacked our own ship. Yeah, I wish I could stop kicking Tommy off. I do. But he won't like just shut the fuck up sometimes. And if Tommy wants to be the only one talking, which he does, then he needs to stream on his own channel more. I don't know why he doesn't do it more. Like the one time that he streamed, it seemed to go great for him. I only caught a little bit of it because I was working, but he went for hours and had lots of viewers. He should definitely just. He doesn't want to talk with other people. He wants to talk at them. He should do his own stream. I'm not reading it, but mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tommy has been released. I put him in holding and he disappeared almost instantly. He does not hang around the holding cells for long at all anymore. Not since that one night that he hung around there for basically the whole stream. We got funny, fancy pants, sassy pants, leather pants. I'm just wearing jeans. Just kidding. I'm not wearing any pants. I think the conflict of interest concept is pretty clear. But it's worth, maybe not. I won't beat a dead horse. It's not complicated. It's just not applied well. Most people don't know about it, first of all, what it is. It's a very simple concept, but most people aren't aware of it. And people who are aware of it, for some reason, it only gets applied in like a business setting, not everywhere. It should be applied everywhere in life. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Psychology and economics are the two subjects that is weaponized against the general population the most, and we're never taught about them for a reason. If people understood how money worked, or if people understood psychology, they would behave entirely different. And a conflict of interest involves aspects of both, right? All right. I am going to get ready to shut down in a minute. First, though, let's look at a few things first. just to kind of try to solidify the point of this stream. And give us some proper examples. Oops, that's the wrong button. Here's a little refresher of the thumbnail video, right? With all these people running in front of this plane, as if that's an Air Force plane too, right? As if the Air Force can't maintain discipline or security on its runways to get its planes out. Of course they can. These people are not. There's not even really any wind blowing on them. They're not in front of a jet engine that's running. They're not. I mean, it's just completely fake. And I've seen clips where they're slowed down and zoomed in that are better quality. This guy on the back right here, this doesn't show it. Global news. Look at the people's clothes. That engine isn't pulling anything in. That guy, he ain't scared of shit. He's having fun. He's getting paid. He's having fun, running around. You know, if people just look critically at the information they're fed instead of accepted it at face value like we're trained to do, since we're little kids getting taught that the one God and his son, who's God, who's the same person as the Father, right? We're gaswashed with or brainwashed with religion immediately, and then sent to school where there's more truth coming from authority that conflicts with the things that you experience. If we just look critically at the information we're being given, it's just amazing how much stupid shit there is out there. Like, okay, if this were real, what the fuck are all these people doing? What are they running with the plane for? Do they think if they can keep pace with it, they'll just take off? Do they think that this plane is going to stop and open the door for them? Do they think that they can hang on to the side of it for the whole flight? It's absurd. If you were scared for your life, you wouldn't be running around playing on the fucking what is that thing called? Not the drag strip, the landing strip. You'd see that plane rolling and you'd be moving on to the next option. Like, okay, this plane's already closed up and rolling down the runway. What are we going to do now? You wouldn't just chase it around in front of a camera crew. We've all seen this. This was completely staged. It's not even disputed. It just is. Oh, I mean, this is about it, I think. Do I still have this on? I still have this shit on quarter speed. I actually kind of like it at slower speed because we're not listening to this copyright shit. But this wasn't organic at all. This was staged. It was a photo op. And they did, yeah. It was entirely theater. What other theater? And I had when I started the stream, I had a whole bunch of examples in my head, just ready to go. Now I'm drawing a blank, probably because it's late as shit. I saved a video on my old phone. I don't know where the file is right now. I've got it saved somewhere. That I need to, if I think about it, I'll pull it up and maybe upload it as a short. But it's a video I screen recorded off of a news story, I believe, of some damage in Ukraine. When Ukraine first broke, the whole world was just enamored with it. And I started paying attention to the press and looking closely at the videos. There's some of the most obvious CGI shit. And I screen recorded this bomb damage. And at some point it goes past and the scene, there's cows. But these cows are so clearly CGI. That was worth screen recording. You would think that governments could do a better job of producing their fakes than what India gave us with the moon landing. Maybe we'll watch that and then call it a night. This one's just fucking amazing. It's amazing that anybody would release this. It's amazing that anyone would believe this. It's amazing. Like the first time I ever remember really thinking, wow, the media is just sort of fucking with us entirely was during Harambe. If anybody remembers Harambe and the whole psychosis and narrative surrounding Harambe, where you've got people, lots of people, saying things like, they should have shot the mom, not the gorilla. Not the gorilla. That's the gorilla that's moving towards like a 5-year-old kid that fell into it. Are you crazy? Of course they should shoot the gorilla. Of course they should shoot the fucking gorilla. The India moon landing feels the same. It's so clearly bullshit. I can't believe anybody thought, you know what? This is good. People, the only reason I can think that you would release this shit and not something a little bit better is because you want to really push the envelope. Who knows? Maybe it's Duper's Delight and you're mocking the public. Maybe it's further training, right? Like you keep people used to seeing and believing things that clearly should not be seen or believed, so that they're trained and in the pattern of accepting absurdities when it comes from the right sources or authorities. Yes, indeed, this is fucking footage of India this moon landing. Can you believe that shit? It's a goddamn calculator game. Oh, and here's some stock footage of Indian people. They're clapping. They're very happy. We don't know why. We have no idea what this. It's like a Getty image video. Just generic. Oh, I guess that back here in the back they've got that picture on the screen. Maybe it's photoshopped in. Who knows? Where's the president? I love the president's reaction. The president of India. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Certain measurements have indicated there's a lot of water ice in those regions. And so, as you mentioned briefly in your report, that water ice could be extracted and used to make rocket fuel, by separating the hydrogen and the oxygen. Of course, if you're going to establish a lunar base, that ice could be used for drinking water, and the oxygen could.
And so to think that NASA would be ballsy enough to go on record giving credence to this thing right here it's either, I don't know what it is. It could be arrogance. They could be that cocky, or it could be a partial reveal, right? Like if people are waking up to the moon hoax, this is a way of walking them in through the shallow end, right? This is your first introduction. It's not so much a shock to the system. You're watching this happen.
Of course, if you're going to establish a lunar base, that ice could be used for drinking water.
I don't, and anybody who's into body language, just watch this dude. I don't believe his body language at all. He's got the little raised eyebrows, the sort of believe me eyebrows. Moving around. He's just putting on the you need to believe me. He's trying to sell it too hard.
And the oxygen could also be used for breathing, right? And so there are a lot of resources, there are minerals that are deposited there, we believe. And so for all those reasons, the South Pole is attractive.
The United States plans
Look at these funny looking dildos he's got back here.
to land humans on the moon in 20 time in 1972.
Yes, so the U.S. is hoping to land astronauts again. This would be the first landings, of course, since 1972, as you pointed out. These are different because the goals are different. The goal's not just to get there as it was in the 60s during the Apollo program, during the space race. The idea was to beat the Soviets to the surface of the moon with astronauts. Having won that, this time we're looking to sustainably go there. That is, we've got an architecture that would allow us to explore.
I also like these rocket launches. It's just interesting to see. I'm curious how many of them are real. Are we really shooting something into the air, right? Because we've all seen a bottle rocket shoot and it snaps, right? And I understand it's a smaller scale. It's like there are some differences, but the concept is the same. This is basically a big bottle rocket. But it seems like they just lift off so slowly.
A certain or a longer length of time. So that would involve a small space station called a gateway that would orbit the moon, and it would be a staging area for astronauts to go down to the surface, and also a staging area to possibly go further into space one day to Mars. So we're looking to go explore the moon to stay this time, and that's really the big difference.
And explain that to me, Leroy. Would there ever be an instance in which you would set up shop on the actual moon itself as opposed to orbiting around it?
Yeah, so you would go down to the moon. You would have some kind of a habitat there. You wouldn't necessarily have it permanently crewed. That means that is to say there wouldn't necessarily always be humans there, but it would be a research facility. It would be a facility where you could gather samples, things like that, to bring back to the Earth. And so
this is one of those photos where we have the look. You can see I don't know if you can see my cursor, but right in front of where his hands are, right there, on the ladder, kind of in the middle, you can see in the background. I'm not sure if that's the Earth or the sun, but clearly there's a glowing ball right there in the background. You can see it through the ladder rungs. But if you look at the shadows, there's also a light source. The shadows go right, so there's a light source to the left. But you can see the light source behind the astronaut. I think that this is exactly one of those.
For the jumping off point of the moon, probably you would have your
Bullshit.
vehicle that would travel, farther into space, be in orbit around the moon, and use that gateway as a place where astronauts could transfer to that vehicle. So there are a lot of different things being looked at, but the main point is this time we're not just dashing out for a few missions to kind of show that we can do it. The idea is to actually get some more scientific data and use it for an operational training base and other things, to prepare to go to Mars.
I can't wait. Former NASA.
And now NASA's job is getting taken over by Elon Musk in the private industry to a large degree, which it's amazing to me that anybody believes Elon Musk is anything besides a plant. He's an actor. He's in a role. He doesn't run these fucking companies. None of these companies, every single Elon Musk company, from the brain chips to the tunnels underneath LA to the electric vehicles and the rockets, the SpaceX, all of them are entirely dependent on government contracts and subsidies. He is a government contractor. To think that a government contractor who's also the richest man in the world, I believe he still is, right? He's the richest person in the world, and he's gotten there by being a government contractor. But he's also for the common folk and against not overtly anti-government, but against many government things. Like, he's not going against the grain, and he's not a normal guy. He's an actor. He's not even a very good actor, and he's not really very. I mean, if you listen to Elon Musk, if you forget that you're listening to Elon, listen to an interview sometime and just wipe your mind of the fact that this is Elon Musk. And of course, you already know that he's a big genius because they spend so much fucking time telling you that he's a genius. Just listen to him talk and then tell me if you think that sounds like somebody who's a genius or if it sounds like somebody who's like a third-rate actor. It's like a bottom-shelf actor trying to recall his lines, which are just basic enough that they're easily digested by everybody, really, by the general population at large. There's nothing confusing. The genius never talks about things on too complex of a level for all of the audience to get it. I'll put it that way. Everything's fake. Except for me. Much love, viewers. If you didn't like the video, please like my late night stream. I'll hit the comments before I go. Damn, there's more comments showed up since the last time I read them than I think the whole beginning of the show. Let's say I left off at the pants. It says, I'm not angry. This is just my face. We know, Snowfire, that you miss Saluma-Tommy. But you know what the solution to that is, right? You need to get home. Get home now. Back in the day, the T Squad would give dissenters free hind rides. Very Pinochet. I don't know what a hind ride is. If you make me moderator, I will only send interesting things. Just saying. Don't care if you do. Don't care if you want to. Just saying. Well, can't you send? Oh, you mean you want to share links? Here's the thing, Snowfire. I sort of feel like giving you mod powers would be not exactly akin, but quite similar to giving Tommy mod powers. I don't know what to do about that because I can't have Tommy being a mod. Actually, let me reverse that. I could see Tommy. No, well, he's too hostile. I could almost see Tommy though being a fantastic mod. He'd either be a fantastic mod or a nightmare. It depends on how stoically he can handle it. Yep. People have been sucked into them. Go home, Charlene. Yeah, there's the link to Charlene's home. Go home. They draw a D around where it's sucking up stuff. Yeah, that shit is being towed for sure. Yeah, I got a strike not that long ago from it was probably about 2 years old, the video that got struck. And it was something absurd too. $6.90. I think that you meant to type 69 and your finger accidentally hit the 9 and the 0 button at the same time. What are you trying to say here with your 69 optics? These are old comments. I don't recall who we're pulling our dicks out for, but regardless of who, I'm down for dicks out for anybody. So dicks out for anybody. Oh, Harambe. That was Harambe. Yeah. Do you know how long a tranquilizer takes to work on a full-grown gorilla? Longer than it takes for that gorilla to get across the enclosure to the kid that it was starting to move towards. Yay. There's those sassy pants. Yep, that's how you know it's real. It looks so fake. That's somebody else's fight. I've said it 1,000 times. No part of me really wants. I'm not going to try to that's just not my fight. I agree it's a good one. I get why Z and others do it. It really is a paradigm shifter because you realize the scale of and scope and the power of coordinated lies, right? And it sort of wakes you up to, it's just a whole different way of viewing the world once you bridge that gap. But no part of me is going to, I'm not going to drown trying to save drowning people. I guess I'll phrase it that way, even though it's not a very good analogy, but yeah, that's not my fight. I end up engaged in a lot because it is for a lot of people around me, and because Charlene's boyfriend Tommy insists on having this debate over and over and over again. Guess I'm installing that update now. But that's if somebody's not curious or open-minded enough to explore that topic on their own, then they're not going to entertain it because I brought it up. Sort of how I feel about that. No, I hadn't even read this comment, your very next comment yet, and that's basically exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, that's another problem with the moon landing. You just started smoking trees. How old are you? You're never too old to start smoking, but I always found it curious people who pick up things later in life, right? Like anybody who starts smoking cigarettes as an adult, which I did not, and most people did not. But every now and then you run into somebody who's like 28 and they just started smoking cigarettes. Like what's the deal here? Is this your midlife crisis happening too early or what? I am not a tree smoker at all either. And it's not for lack of trying. I mean, I have definitely done it a lot of times. I've just never really enjoyed it. I just don't get it. I don't know what it does for people. People love it. Lots of people love it. I don't understand what it does for them, but it doesn't do it for me. And no, it's not paranoia either. It's like, meh. I'm just meh. Kind of hungry, kind of lazy. Meh. Okay. So we're sort of similar there. I guess I didn't smoke a lot in junior high. But all through junior high, high school, college, the people I was around smoked a lot. I preferred drinking. Yep. Correct. NASA is the biggest consumer of helium. Trust the science. You forgot to spell it with a $sign instead of an S. Scientism. Really, science, especially in really all scientific studies, but especially like pharmaceutical trials, they're all beholden to the funder, not explicitly but implicitly, right? If you want, you can come up with results that your client, whoever's paying you, is not wanting to receive, but that only works one time. Basically, you're not getting hired the next one. They'll get somebody who will play ball. But I look at science, if not the scientific method, but science is in institutionalized, peer-reviewed studies. All these things are paid for by someone. What is it they get out of it? It's either regulatory compliance or validity for whatever they're testing. I view it as a branch of marketing, basically. Science. I agree. Tony Stark was the embodiment of the Elon Musk figure. I started too far behind, and y'all continue to comment. So I'm going to go up from the bottom for a little bit. I never take pharmaceuticals, only weed and CBD. I don't take any of that stuff. Where are the four corners? North, south, east, and west. I don't think they're literal corners, but I have no idea. I don't drink very much anymore either. It's a lot of fun if you're in that lifestyle, right? Are you out partying? Are you picking up chicks? But when you're in a relationship and just sort of living the Hank Hill lifestyle, it loses its flavor. Nice. I haven't taken Benadryl since jail. Indeed. Way more than what? This is the problem with reading up from the bottom. So your finger didn't slip. 690 was an intentional number. I thought you were trying to tell me something. And was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that I went on Paul's panel and debated basically snaps and then wizard. Kind of makes me sad that snaps has been, but you know what? Fuck around and find out snaps. I do like snaps. I'm just not enough to like allow him to be a hazard. You do? Klaus, that's such weak bait. There's definitely games. I'm not above playing games. What I am above, though, is people who I consider too far below me. And not even people I dislike, but people with try not to be a douche and names, but like Wizard, right? Wizard's a good example of somebody who's too far below me. He's a crazy fucking kooky old man who's not even like I can handle somebody being weird and unpleasant, but if you're weird and unpleasant and a liar and just all across the board, across all areas, we don't have anything good for the coming out of this person. That's too much. And well, how there's a pattern I've noticed with Paul, which is he prefers to be around people that are subordinate to him. I don't know. I don't think that he does that consciously, honestly. I think that it's just how he feels more comfortable, which makes sense. But the problem with only or almost only, primarily associating with and feeling comfortable around people who are below you is that you find yourself surrounded by people who are below you. And you stay stuck in that peer group. So you've got Word Wizard being insane. You've got O'Shea living out of his car and being creepy as fuck, asking strangers on trails if they want to go on hikes. You just have a lot of weird that ends up collecting. I agree. Z is too early, but I agree on both those things. Who does? Paul does? I can see why. I mean, but he does it to his goddamn self. If you want better panel lineups, you have to be more equitable in the distribution of. I'm not sure what the right word is, but I think that people get what I'm saying. It's positioning, right? If you want to be around better people, then you can't insist that they be positioned in a diminutive way, or else you get people who are cool with that, which are, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing, for sharing the video. If you have not done it, please do it. If you hit the share button and then just push the copy, it counts for the algorithm as a share. You're beautiful, all of you. Good night, my sexies.